The book of Exodus begins with the descendants of Israel growing numerous in Egypt. A new king arises who does not remember Joseph and fears the Israelites' numbers. The Egyptians begin to oppress them with hard labor and slavery. The Pharaoh commands that all newborn Hebrew boys be killed. But a Levite woman hides her baby for 3 months. She places him in a basket and sends him down the Nile River. The baby is found by Pharaoh's daughter and raised as her own. She names him Moses. He is brought up in the Egyptian royal household. As an adult, Moses sees an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave, kills the Egyptian, and hides the body. When the act becomes known, he flees to the land of Midian. In Midian, Moses helps the daughters of a priest named Jethro. Jethro gives Moses his daughter Zipporah in marriage. Moses becomes a shepherd and lives in Midian for many years. One day, while tending sheep near Mount Horeb, Moses sees a bush that burns without being consumed. God speaks to him from the bush. God tells Moses to return to Egypt and lead the Israelites out of slavery. Moses hesitates and says he is not a good speaker. God appoints his brother Aaron to speak for him. Moses agrees and returns to Egypt. Moses and Aaron go to Pharaoh and ask him to let the Israelites go. Pharaoh refuses and increases the Israelites' workload. The people become discouraged and blame Moses. God reassures Moses that he will act with great power. He reminds Moses of the covenant made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God promises to deliver the people with mighty signs. God tells Moses to go again to Pharaoh. Moses obeys, and Aaron speaks on his behalf. Pharaoh's heart is hardened, and he refuses to let the people go. God sends 10 plagues upon Egypt to force Pharaoh to release the Israelites. The first plague turns the Nile River into blood. Fish die, and the water becomes undrinkable. The second plague brings a swarm of frogs. Frogs cover the land, entering homes and beds. Pharaoh begs for relief, but hardens his heart once the frogs are gone. The third plague brings lice or gnats across Egypt. The magicians of Egypt cannot replicate it. They tell Pharaoh it is the finger of God, but he does not listen. The fourth plague sends swarms of flies. The land is ruined by the flies, except in Goshen, where the Israelites live. Pharaoh again refuses to release the people. The fifth plague strikes the livestock of Egypt. Horses, donkeys, camels, cattle, and sheep die. But none of the livestock of the Israelites are harmed. The sixth plague causes boils on humans and animals. Even the magicians are affected and cannot stand before Moses. Pharaoh's heart remains stubborn. The seventh plague brings hail mixed with fire. It strikes down crops, animals, and people in the fields. Only Goshen is spared from the storm. The eighth plague is a swarm of locusts. They cover the land and consume every remaining plant. Pharaoh begs again for mercy, but does not release the people. The ninth plague brings total darkness for 3 days. No one in Egypt can see or move, but the Israelites still have light where they live. God prepares Moses for the final plague. It will be the death of every firstborn in Egypt. This event will finally break Pharaoh's resistance. God commands the Israelites to prepare the Passover. They must kill a lamb and mark their doors with its blood. The angel of death will pass over their homes. At midnight, the firstborn of Egypt are struck down. From Pharaoh's palace to the lowest prisoner, every Egyptian household suffers. Pharaoh finally tells Moses to take the Israelites and leave. The Israelites leave Egypt in haste. They take unleavened bread and are given silver and gold by the Egyptians. There are 600,000 men, plus women and children. God leads the people with a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. He does not take them the shortest way, fearing war with the Philistines. Instead, he leads them toward the Red Sea. Pharaoh changes his mind and pursues them with his army. The Israelites panic as they see the chariots approaching. Moses tells them to stand firm and watch God save them. God parts the Red Sea with a strong east wind. The Israelites cross on dry land between walls of water. The Egyptians follow them into the sea. God tells Moses to stretch out his hand again. The waters return and drown Pharaoh's army. Not one of them survives. The Israelites rejoice and sing a song of praise. Miriam the prophetess leads the women in dance with tambourines. They celebrate the power of their God. Soon after, the people begin to complain about bitter water. God shows Moses a piece of wood to throw into the water. It becomes sweet and drinkable. In the desert, the people complain of hunger. God sends manna from heaven to feed them each day. He also provides quail for meat. God instructs them to gather manna for 6 days and rest on the seventh. Some disobey and try to gather on the Sabbath. The manna rots and attracts worms. When the people lack water again, God tells Moses to strike a rock. Water flows out to quench their thirst. God proves his care in the wilderness. The Amalekites attack the Israelites. Moses stands on a hill with his staff, and Joshua leads the army. As long as Moses holds up his hands, Israel prevails. Aaron and her support Moses' arms when he tires. The Israelites win the battle. God tells Moses to write it down as a memorial. Jethro visits Moses and sees he is overwhelmed by leading alone. He advises Moses to appoint judges over smaller groups. Moses follows the advice and creates a system of leadership. God tells Moses to bring the people to Mount Sinai. They are to prepare for 3 days. On the 3rd day, God will descend on the mountain. Thunder, lightning, and a thick cloud cover the mountain. The people tremble as the trumpet sounds. Moses ascends to meet with God. God speaks to Moses from the mountain and gives him the 10 Commandments. These laws include honoring God, not stealing, not killing, and not bearing false witness. People are afraid and ask Moses to speak to God on their behalf. God gives additional laws to guide Israel's worship, justice, and daily life. These include instructions on slavery, property, festivals, and compassion. Moses writes down everything God says. God calls Moses to come up the mountain again. Moses stays there for 40 days and nights. God gives him stone tablets written with his commandments. While Moses is gone, the people grow impatient. They ask Aaron to make them a god to lead them. Aaron makes a golden calf, and the people begin to worship it. God tells Moses to go down because the people have corrupted themselves. Moses returns and sees the idol and the people dancing. In anger, he breaks the stone tablets. Moses burns the calf and grinds it into powder. He makes the people drink it with water. He confronts Aaron and calls for those who are loyal to God. The Levites answer Moses' call. They are commanded to kill those who led the rebellion. About 3,000 people die that day. Moses goes back up the mountain to plead for mercy. He asks God to forgive the people or remove him from the book of life. God responds that only the guilty will be removed. God tells Moses to lead the people forward. He sends an angel to guide them. Moses sets up a tent outside the camp to meet with God. Moses speaks with God face to face in the tent. He asks God to show his glory. God agrees, but says Moses can only see his back, not his face. God calls Moses back to the mountain with new stone tablets. God proclaims his name and reveals his mercy and justice. Moses worships and asks God to go with the people. God makes a renewed covenant with Moses. He repeats the key laws and commands. Moses stays on the mountain another 40 days and nights. When Moses comes down, his face shines with the glory of God. The people are afraid to come near him. He wears a veil when speaking to them. God gives Moses instructions for building the tabernacle. The tabernacle will be a portable sanctuary for God's presence. God gives detailed plans for every part. These include the Ark of the Covenant, the altar, the lampstand, and the priestly garments. Skilled workers are chosen and anointed to carry out the work. The people bring offerings of gold, silver, cloth, and wood. God appoints Bezalel and Oholiab to lead the construction. The people bring more than enough materials. Moses tells them to stop giving. The craftsmen build the tabernacle and its furnishings. They follow every detail God commanded. The ark is made to hold the stone tablets. The tabernacle is completed and brought to Moses. He inspects the work and blesses the people. Everything is set up exactly as God instructed. On the 1st day of the 1st month, Moses sets up the tabernacle. He places the ark inside and covers it with the veil. He sets up the altar, the basin, and all the equipment. Moses anoints everything with holy oil, washes Aaron and his sons and dresses them in priestly robes. They're consecrated to serve as priests. Then the glory of God fills the tabernacle. A cloud covers the tent, and fire appears by night. Moses cannot enter because the presence of God is so strong. From that day forward, the cloud stays over the tabernacle. When the cloud lifts, the Israelites set out. When it stays, they remain in camp. The people follow the cloud by day and fire by night. It is the visible sign of God's presence among them. It guides them throughout all their journeys. The book of Exodus ends with the tabernacle complete and the people under God's guidance.
Wow.
They have been delivered from slavery. Now, they are a nation with laws, worship, and purpose. God has kept his promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Israelites are no longer just a family. They're becoming a people set apart for a greater destiny. They will carry the covenant, the law, and the promise of something still to come. And their journey through the wilderness is only just beginning. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. It really does help support the channel. Thank you for watching the video to the end. Have a blessed day.